Hello, hello, and welcome to Practically Speaking Houston. This is the official podcast of the Houston chapter of PRSA, and I'm your host, Veronica Sofer, and I come to you every couple of weeks introducing some amazing members that we have here in our Houston chapter and really start to have conversations that are meaningful to the work that we do. So if you are listening on the podcast, make sure you hit subscribe. We don't want you to miss any episodes of Practically Speaking Houston. And if you are watching on one of our social media channels, be sure to drop some comments. We would love to connect with you. So let's go ahead and get this episode started. I have the amazing Mike O'Neill joining us. Hello, hello. Welcome.
I was in the void. I was in a void until right now, but now I'm on camera.
You're here. And
that was scary. And seen. There we go. How are you?
I'm great. Thanks so much for joining us. It's been a couple of years since you've been on the podcast.
Well, you were so nice to bring me on when I first joined PRSA. I started volunteering as the scholarship chair. And you know, that's really a rewarding work, certainly, for PRSA. And so now they've elected me to be the treasurer. And I'm happy to be here contributing in any way I can to support this amazing organization.
Oh, so excited. And, you know, the things that we do here in Houston are not unique to what happens in other communities. But what is unique about what we do in Houston is that we've got folks from all sectors at all stages in their career. And, you know, sometimes we're talking to folks that are doing the day-to-day hustle and grind of an agency. And then sometimes we're talking to folks who are in oil and gas and healthcare. And Mike O'Neill, today you're coming to us from the finance space. So tell us a little bit about your journey, the things that you're up to and what you're seeing in the space, especially now that you're at a point in your career where you're learning and growing.
Yeah, well, right now I work as the Senior Communications and Marketing Specialist for TDECU, Texas Dow Employee Credit Union. We're actually the largest credit union in Houston. We're the fourth largest in Texas. We've seen an amazing amount of growth in the past year and a half. Right now, we just completed our merger with Space City Credit Union. And we're actually working on finalizing a potential merger with Smart Financial Credit Union. So a lot of this stuff is happening. We've seen an amazing growth. And I'm actually coming to you from our new offices over here in the Post-Oak area. And that's why I wanted to come up, because we have a beautiful view. And so I wanted to set up for that just to show off a little bit. But I'm very proud of the work that we do here at TDECU. And I know that we do a lot of things. We have a lot of sponsorships. We have our TDECU Cares group that actually is very actively involved in the community. And so for me, I'm happy to be able to not only share the good news and keep up with the credit union story, but also all of the work that we do as far as a socially what are the words I'm thinking of a good community support organization.
Yeah,
organization that supports the community.
That's right. I was going to say your community engagement is top notch, which is a big part of a communications, plan, an engagement plan. We've got some folks who are heavily into the marketing perspective of their communications role, maybe not a traditional PR role, but for a lot of us, it all kind of merges together, whether it's advertising, marketing, community engagement, it all gets thrown under the other duties as assigned. And I know that that's a skill set that people grow and develop, but a lot of us also go to school specifically to learn that. And I know that you, speaking of school, have been on a very incredible journey. Tell us what you've been up to.
Well, great segue, because as we spoke about. So, last time we spoke, I had just made the transition from moving over, I was maybe a couple years into the transition. I worked in TV news, broadcast TV news, as a news photographer, a photojournalist, producer, executive producer. And I had done that for a little over 27 years. And then I made the switch over to corporate communications because, as they say in TV, if you want to move up, you have to move out. And I was at that point in my career and with my family where I was like, no, I need to stay put. I need to figure out what to do. And, I had already worked at 2 of the 4 locations here in Houston. And so I was like, it's like I could either continue with that or I would have to move or, move over to corporate. And it does open up, and the possibilities, certainly in a city the size of Houston, they're practically endless. And so I was fortunate enough to get this position. I worked for 3 years at MetroNational doing the marketing, communications, and public relations for Memorial City area. And so now I'm here with TDECU. But at the time that we spoke, I was just talking about, the rush of knowledge that you have to flex when you're switching from TV to corporate communications.
Right.
But since we spoke, I've now started taking classes, or that is to say, I'm pursuing a master's degree from Texas Tech in strategic communication and innovation. And I've only got 1 semester left, and I'm very excited. I'm going to finish it up over the summer.
Oh, so exciting. Congrats.
Thank you. And so what I've really found is, and I hope that this will serve as encouragement for anyone who's considering on making that same move. I was 30 years outside of my graduate, from my bachelor degree. And I went in, and I was certainly nervous about what it would be like getting back into it. But what I found is that not only are the lessons that I'm learning, the classes I'm taking, they're filling in the blanks, they're helping reaffirm a lot of what I instinctually was doing. That it really did help me in my classes. I am a straight A student. I'm 100%. I'm going to be so petty. I'm going to put that on all my resumes. Straight
I love it. I love it.
But because of the fact that it's like a lot of the lessons I'm learning, I'm like, oh yes, I've experienced that in real life. So it's not just like I'm learning all brand new things, but it's just reaffirming some of the lessons that I've kind of personally experienced, and I'm able to translate that into what I'm putting out for school. So I'm very excited about it.
Oh, that's so exciting. And I think it's important for us to always talk about lifelong learning. And some of us go to school, some of us work on our APR, some of us actually take additional continuous education opportunities and continuous learning. What do you think is one of the, or give me 2 or 3 tips you would give to somebody considering a path like that, whether it's APR or a master's program or some other form of learning? What would some tips be for them?
Well, first of all, just do it, right?
Yeah.
That just right off the top. I mean, it's like I said, I had some hesitation because I'd been out of school for so long. I was like, I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to do it. Am I going to be able to donate enough time or dedicate enough time for it? But it all comes out in the end. You never know until you get started. So that's number one.
Right.
Number 2 is that, look for the opportunities, because it's like here at TDECU, they actually reimburse my tuition. So it's like, look for, if you work for a corporation, look for those tuition, for the tuition reimbursement. That's a really big thing. And if not, again, for the old guys like me, after the age of 55, and I didn't even realize this until I got my last bill, after the age of 55 here in Texas, a lot of tuition fees are waived.
Wow.
And yeah, I know. Okay. I was surprised as you were. And so it's like I went through and I had to look. I was like, they're only I think maybe I paid $850 for this last semester.
Wow.
With the classes, and it's almost to the point where I'm like, maybe I'm not going to rely on my tuition reimbursement. I'd love for the company to support others. But yeah, because it's like it's just because of the fact that they, there is a program here in Texas where they support for seniors who are getting back into education. So yeah, I think look for all those things. That's number 1. So don't be afraid, do it. Look for the opportunities that you can for tuition reimbursement to support it, and look for something that is, like, I would say, close to but not 100% connected with what you're already doing.
Yeah.
You see, for me, like I said, this was me kind of plugging in a few holes of knowledge, but now I'm also thinking, what's next? Because it has gone super fast. Like I said, I only have 1 more class, which is, basically, the final project, big project that you have to get for the master's degree. That's going to happen over the summer. And then I'm thinking about what's next. And honestly, my next thought is like, maybe I'll try and get like a master's in business. So then that would help. So then that would help me if I ever had to go out and, hang my own shingle, as they say.
Right.
Which, again, and then this takes me back to the biggest reason as we talk about the reason for groups like PRSA and the networking opportunities that come from this. Yeah. It is you are going to meet some of the bravest people in the community, in your industry, when you talk with these people, because there's a lot of people out there, probably a majority of the people who are going to be even listening to this podcast, who are working and striving and fighting on their own. They're out there, they're grinding. For me, I admit it's a little easier working for a corporation because I've got, some security here. Only security as much as they want to keep me around.
Right.
But but for the people who, there are, a lot of people out there who have to go out and they have to find their clients. They have to build their base. And I admire and I'm in awe of them every single day. And every time we have a meeting and I talk to the people who are out there, the ones who are successful getting clients or who are still working for them. And so that's why I want to support groups like this, so I can help them get out there. And Davey, so it's like I feel supported. If times change, it's like the economy is crazy.
Sure.
And so it's like if an opportunity comes, I want to be able to support them in that way as well, because I know they're going to support me. I'm talking too much, I think.
No, I love that. And that's so true. And it really is about the network, because you never know. Sometimes we have transitions in life and transitions in economy. And when you can pick up the phone and talk to a colleague or someone you were networking with recently or volunteered on a committee with and tell them, hey, this is what happened. This is what I'm looking for. Keep your ear open. 9 times out of 10, they're going to be the folks that think of you first and connect with you. So that is such great advice. And I think that's probably one of the benefits of PRSA is we have in-person events, we have virtual events, we have a lot of different ways to get together and connect. And so it doesn't mean you have to be all in all the time. But it does mean that there's going to be opportunities for you to give back in any way that's appropriate for you in your career and in your life.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. And so that's why I enjoy I just enjoy the camaraderie. I enjoy going places and feeling like I know people. Houston, is a very big little town. And, so it's like, going out and running into people that through PRSA, even at non-PRSA events, that's great. Of course, there are other groups that kind of, dabble in the same industry and in the same groups. And that was always nice. Now, I had been president of the Houston Press Club, which unfortunately has kind of gone by the wayside just because of the fact that there was just a decline in memberships and sponsorships. And so right now it's dormant. I still have this dream of someday passing on the torch, because we had a really great program, historic program. It had formed in 1940. So, so it's like, it's one of those things I'd really love to see revived and stuff like that, if only to benefit the media side, the media press club side. And so it's like, so I understand the importance of having groups like this and, running into some of those same people left and right.
Yeah. Yeah, no, absolutely. 100%. And I was actually just on another call and we were talking about what happens when an institution has to shift. And if we don't shift for the needs of our members, then we could be at risk for not being relevant anymore. And it was an analogy. And I think we got it from a Chip and Dan Heath book, something to the effect of, at one point, TV factories had carpenters as a major part of TV manufacturing, because television, for those of you that don't know, televisions used to be inside furniture, like on, Mike and I know, but we were the remote controls before there was remote controls, right? And I think and I think that's a big part of being involved in PRSA, is that you can see the trends that are coming. You can attend trainings and get connected with folks and really stay connected. So I think PRSA, I'm biased, of course, but I think we have a very good foundation for people in every season of their career, whether it's a student coming out of college, someone in their sophomore year, or someone looking to start working on an exit plan at some point.
Can I just do a real quick aside?
Absolutely.
A cool story from my personal family history, when you were talking about, it's like, how TV itself as an industry had to evolve, right? Because right now, all the ideas like virtual reality sets, your big screens and stuff like that, back in the day, obviously they had to have, hand painted, sets in the background. And my grandfather, Paul O'Neill, he actually worked for the ABC station in Philadelphia, and he would do the hand-painted sets behind the scenes. And so this was one that was out there. I don't know if you can see. I'll try and get it up there. Anyway, so this was a bookstore background.
I can. That's fabulous.
And so back in the 40s, I think maybe early 50s, or I can't remember actually the era at that point. But what happened was that this was a background that was used for a guy who was, he would do a story time. It was a story time. He would talk about books and stuff like that. He ended up, there was a little bit of a scandal. They ended up kind of letting him go. So they came to my grandfather with this urgent request. We need you to change this because we're going to start like a new music-based show. But we need you to do this. And this was on a Thursday or Friday because we're going to start shooting on Monday. So my grandfather worked overtime. And so he turned that into this background right here. And he turned it into a music shot, which is funny because it's like, he has a really outsized trumpet. I've never seen a trumpet that looks like that. This was the original background to the first episodes of what became American Bandstand.
Oh,
my grandfather.
Gosh.
Yeah. So they came up to him. They said, we have this new guy. His name is Dick Clark. He's going to be hosting this music show. We're going to have kids dancing. We just wanted to look like a music shop background. So when they had a recent retrospective of American Bandstand, my grandfather's background was on display at the Smithsonian.
Oh my gosh, Mike,
so it's in the blood. I don't know how that happened.
It is. That is amazing. I love that. And I love the connection, right? Like how fast he had to pivot. And then the legacy, I mean, it's in the Smithsonian. That's amazing.
It's really wonderful. And, here, fast forward, 40, 50 years, and I'm working in TV, and I've seen, major evolutions in it. And again, all the more reason to keep up with your education, keep up with, with the latest trends and everything. And that's a advocacy for that, if ever.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, Mike, I don't know how we're going to top this episode. That's a great way to end and tying it all back together. You're a wonderful storyteller, and I love the visuals. And lastly, Mike, how can people connect with you? How do you want people to reach out and keep that network going?
Well, it's like I'm on LinkedIn, and I think LinkedIn is really great because no matter where you are in your career, and as quickly as things can change with where you're working, I think LinkedIn is definitely the way to go. I wish I knew off the top of my head my LinkedIn profile, but Mike O'Neill. Yeah, well, maybe we'll put in a link or whatever. But that's through that, through PRSA, Mike O'Neill. I'm not shy. You'll find me. I'm out there.
I love it. That's fantastic. Mike, great visiting with you. Thank you for all you do for our organization. And I can't wait to see you in person again.
Yeah, I can't wait. We'll talk. Oh, you know what? Because PRSA, the next networking event is over our studios, at our offices, rather. Studios. Still thinking in mindset of news, right? So, so it's over here. So, we have a great speaker that she's going to be talking about AI, and we didn't even get into AI. I'll let you save that for your next guest, because obviously AI is changing everything that we do. But she's going to be coming here. She's going to be speaking about it. We're going to be hosting it here. 2000 Post Oak Boulevard on the 21st floor. We have our beautiful offices, so people will be able to come and check it out. We have a whole floor dedicated to wellness. There's rooms for new mothers, and there's floors and spaces where no cell phones are allowed. I mean, it really is a dynamic place, and I want everyone to come see it. So sign up through PRSA Houston, and we hope to see you. That's coming up in a couple of weeks.
That's right. That's awesome. And folks, we will.
I immediately dated this podcast after like 2 weeks. After making it, there's no reason to watch this.
No, it's actually very timely, and we will definitely have a link to buy tickets in the show notes. So if you want to attend, you're going to find Mike's LinkedIn in the show notes, but you're also going to find the link for the tickets, because we definitely want more folks to come to our luncheons, because this is the best way not only to stay connected, but to see the great things that are happening. And a great shout out to TDECU for being our sponsors and for helping us just stay relevant in the space.
Yes. Thank you for anyone who's still watching. Anyone who watch this deep, I'm there's going to be a quiz next time you see me. So I'll
right.
know
That's
if you
right.
watch.
He's going to get a count. All right, Mike. Thanks so much. Appreciate you being on the show.
Have a great day, all. Thank you very much for your time.
You bet. All right, everybody, make sure you get those tickets. We definitely want to see you at our next luncheon. Wonderful opportunity to connect with our PRSA Houston chapter members and stay networked with us. So make sure you hit subscribe. We don't want you to miss any episodes of Practically Speaking Houston, the official podcast for the PRSA chapter here in Houston. We look forward to connecting with you in person and online. We'll see you soon.